right, let's go ahead and get started, everyone. Welcome. Today, we're going to learn about how we can amp up our teaching. If you've never met me, hi, I'm Stephanie, and I am an oversharer. So today's session, I'm going to apologize upfront. You are going to get more than 10 resources, hopefully in this session. Okay, and my goal is I want you to walk away with one. Your goal today is to walk away with one idea, one resource that you can implement tomorrow or that you can implement next school year. Some of you might be like, oh my gosh, my summer is almost here. Let me know in the chat. How many more days? How many more days of school do we have? I know we have people from all around the world joining. So some of you might be like, we just got back to school, Stephanie. So we still have a while, right? Cami has 28 more days. I know she's in Canada. So that 2 weeks, oh my gosh. 4 more days, Stacy. Okay, Stacy's winning so far. But yeah, so last week, Sherry, when do you guys start back? Yeah, because that's amazing that you're already on. Oh my gosh, in my series going off. So again, we're going to be learning about amping up our teaching and how we can use these strategies to help us. I'm a teacher success champion here at CAMI, and prior to that, I was an instructional coach. So I have been able to try out all of these different strategies and really begin to use them with teachers. And one of my kind of nicknames was I was that fun aunt that got to go into the classroom and then I got to leave, and the kids just had a ball. So I'm hoping these strategies will really engage your learners and really help them. We also have Frankie here. Frankie is going to be helping out in the chat. He's another teacher success champion. He's waving to all of you. Go ahead and say hi, Frankie.
I must just remember to unmute myself, Steph. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. It is such an honor being here and seeing the fabulous Steph in action tonight. Well, for me tonight.
Yeah, everybody's joining from around the world. So this is amazing. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's start right here on page number 2. I also want to give a disclaimer. We're going to go into a lot of instructional strategies and how you can use these strategies in the classroom. I am going to show class view in Google Classroom. So if you use a different learning management system, or you're like, wait, I had no idea Cami could do that. We offer free unlimited training. And so because of that, you are able to book a time with me or another teacher success champion. And we would love to go over some of those details that I might quickly go over, because again, we're going to be talking about how to amp up your teaching with different pedagogy, different strategies. And so again, if you're like, how did she do that class view? Why do I not have it on my account? Just either send me an email or you can book a time with me or another teacher success champion. So this first one, I'm going to need your help. You guys are going to be the capture. So you're going to take notes. And when you're using the capture feature, you are going to be able to use the comments, and you can leave text comments, audio comments, video comments. And I really want you to kind of think about how you want to capture today's learning. Okay, so I'm going to let you know on a secret about how can we amp up our teaching. This is science-based research on just some things that need to be included when we're thinking about that engagement for our students. So again, what I want you to do is take notes on this capture side. So what I will kind of talk about is active learning. So someone might want to write down, grab that text box or grab that text comment, and we're going to write active learning. So active learning is really important because we want our students to be engaged. They need to be hands-on. It shouldn't be passive learning. We really want to make sure that they are taking control over their learning, and we're promoting them in that learning by giving them that active role. Another key word is personalization, right? We want our students to have the opportunity to connect the learning, and we want to make sure that we're connecting their backgrounds. And sometimes that's really difficult because in 2nd grade, I went in to do this project and they had to write about going to the beach. Well, it was very difficult for those students that didn't have that background knowledge of what the beach sounded like, what the beach looked like. So their writing wasn't as descriptive, right? And so right away, we were having just some issues there because the learning wasn't personalized. If you went to the beach, You were like, oh, I get this. You know, you're excelling. You're able to provide that description within this writing. However, if you've never been to the beach, you were really struggling. And so what we were able to do is we were able to provide YouTube videos and have our students go to the beach virtually. Another one is collaboration, right? We want to make sure our students are engaging in collaboration and activities. We want to make sure that we're providing those group projects, peer tutoring, and that we're helping provide engagement to our students by really fostering that community. Now, collaboration isn't always easy. And so for me, when I was doing collaboration in my classroom, what would happen is my students would change all of the slides to black. They would also delete each other's work. Does anyone else? Yes, I see that head shake. Thank you, Stacy. Stacy's like, yes, me. So that was my issue, is I would want to do collaboration because again, John Hattie and all these researchers talk about how great collaboration was. But I was like, Hattie, have you seen my students collaborate? Because I'm not seeing your results here. My students are arguing, they're fighting, they're deleting things, they're causing this unsafe environment. And so because of that, I felt like a failure because I'm like, well, research really says, but what I found was using Kami has helped me with collaboration. I'm unable to come in here and delete another student's work if I'm another student. I can not move things around. And so that kind of took away that barrier from me. So I'm going to write that one down for our notes. Another one is feedback, okay? We want to make sure that we're providing students with regular, timely feedback. This can help with their progress and help promote that engagement. It can also help them track their own learning. A lot of times, again, in my classroom, I was carrying the weight of my students, and I felt like I cared more than they did on some of those assignments. I don't know if anyone else has that weight on you where you're just like, oh, this kid doesn't care that they haven't turned in an assignment, but I do. I care more than that child. So we're going to learn how we can use feedback as well to support students' learning. And then the last area is support. Okay, so we're going to talk about how can we support emotionally, how can we support academically, how can we promote that engagement, and how can we kind of make sure our students feel that psychological safety within the classroom. Okay, so that is kind of our main reasons as to why we're kind of going over engagement. Okay, there's a lot of different areas that a lot of these instructional strategies that I'm going to show you today are going to cover, and they're going to help within your classroom. Okay, so that's the why. So for this first activity, I usually have my students watch a video or listen to a mini lesson, just like I did with you. And they take notes. They capture those notes on a Kami document. After they capture those notes, then what I have them do is I have them create something with that new learning. So maybe it is they go into add media and oh yes, Kami just made a video. She created a video and then she deleted it. Kami. But yes, you're supposed to either create a video reflecting on what you just learned. Maybe students go into add media and they grab a nice little graphic organizer and they capture their ideas here. So that information that you're learning, you're going to now create with that information. Okay. And Dawn, yes, you will get a certificate at the end. Okay, so again, students can come in and use the Kami tools, and they can use voice recording or video, or even capture by using a graphic organizer, all of their different ideas from the lesson that we're learning today. Okay, so that is number one tip. It's called capture and create. Now we're going to go into this and that. And I know how some of my students get. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here to the share document. And I'm going to go into feature controls. And I'm going to turn everything off but for the shape tool because we've got Dustin here. And if you guys have not met Dustin on social media, this guy would take the marker tool and just draw all over it. Like that's just who Dustin is, right? So now what I want you to do is I want you to go to this or that. We're on page number 3 and go ahead and vote. Do you like pizza or pasta? So again, pizza or pasta, and you're going to throw your shape on which one you prefer. Yes, he is here for the chaos. So thank you guys for answering that quick question. You can see here that the only tool that you have is the shapes. If you look behind me, this is my teacher's screen. And on my teacher's screen, I have a lot more tools in my Kami toolbar. However, on this screen, I only have shapes. And so my students can only respond by using shapes on their screen.
We couldn't see your teacher one. Oh, now we can.
Okay, you can now?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So here again are all of those tools. And then when I turn on feature controls, can you see my student screen now?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. There's only shapes. Okay. So that is one thing that you can do within Kami. It's called feature controls. And again, I just go up here to the share document and I can go to feature controls and I can even turn on or off copy and paste. I know a lot of us are like, oh no, my students are going to ChatGPT or some type of AI website or Google. Well, you can actually turn that off within Kami and they would not be able to copy and paste that over to their document. So feature controls is another great way. I love using this or that resources within my classroom. And so what I'm able to do is I'm able to quickly see how my students are answering this prompt, right? I'm able to see how many of you love pizza compared to spaghetti or pasta. And I'm able to also see who responded with what. So whoever made this giant purple shape, I can hover over it, CK, and then I can hover over again to see that Cami left this left this shape, and she must love pasta. I can come over here to this triangle and see that RK, right? Rachel loves pizza. So I can really quickly see how my students are responding to these prompts. I love to use these activities to start off the class, to get my students debating. This is also a great activity for your students if you teach ELA to teach them that justification skill. Again, I went into feature controls. You just have the shape tool, but maybe now I'm ready for you to use another tool. And maybe that second tool, I want you to use the comment tool and explain why you picked pizza over pasta. I want you to justify your reasoning. So again, I can take this up a level in DOK, depth of knowledge. So my students answer first, and then I go into that feature control, turn more features on, and allow them to use their voice. So go ahead and really quickly go over to the comment tool, either use audio, text, or video to explain why you picked pizza or pasta as your choice. Awesome, great job. Yeah, both are quite yummy. And you're going to get a resource with all of these resources in this document. The amazing Frankie helped design this resource. So at the end, once you fill out the feedback survey, I'm going to email you all of the different resources from today's session. And you'll be able to click on that template, use that resource right away. There's also a video that goes along with the resources to remind you if you're like, what was this strategy? Or, okay, I'm ready for more. I'm going to come back to that next strategy. So again, this will be available at the end of the session. All right, let's go ahead and go on to strategy number 3. So we're going to drop down to page number 4. And what we have here is we've got words. So we've got definitions, we got vocab words. And what my students will do is they can use the dictionary tool within Kami. And when they highlight this word,
The strength and vitality
they can listen to the definition. They can listen to the word as well.
energy.
So it's a great accessibility feature for my students to listen to these vocabulary words and the definitions. Now, I did not turn off copy and paste, so my students could copy this definition, go to the text box, and paste it right here. But if I wanted them to like paraphrase the definition, I didn't want them to use that definition from the dictionary. I could go in again to that feature controls. So I'm up here with this little share document. Feature controls, I'm going to turn everything, keep everything on, but turn off copy and paste. And so now when they go to non-living and I hit that dictionary, I can copy it, but they're not able to paste it onto the document. Okay, so they're not able to paste it. So go ahead and pick a word and go ahead and paraphrase that definition. Okay, so go ahead, everybody. We're going to kind of collaborate together to fill out this activity. So again, we're going to just do the definition really quickly. And then the next part, what my students do is they can sketch. So they can grab the drawing tool here and they can sketch what this is, right? That investigate, that little scope that we can kind of investigate, right? When we're thinking about that diagram, they grabbed a diagram from the Kami library. Another thing that I might do, because Kami works so well with Google, is in this resource document for this activity, if we click here, it's going to open up a Kami document, but then I have a Google slide version over here. And I can actually change sketch to maybe act out. Maybe instead of sketch, I want my students to act out that vocabulary word. I want them to play some charades. And so with this activity, I can come on and have my students go to add media, go to the camera tool, videotape, record a video, and maybe they're like acting out stormy or whatever word they're acting out. And then they can add their video onto their Kami document. And a lot of research has shown that when we add movement to vocabulary words, it helps our students remember them. Okay, it helps our students remember them when we make movements or we sketch them out or add images. So you can kind of decide. And again, what's great about Kami is it works so well with Google. And so you can go in to your Google document, change the direction. So instead of sketch, I might change this to act it out. I might change it to find an image from Google. I might have it where they have to take an image and they have to like act out an image and take a little picture of themselves or find something within the classroom, right? Maybe it's like a photo scavenger hunt where they had to look around the room and find some bricks that show off what this might look like. Okay, so lots of different things there. Yeah, Marzano's vocabulary talks a lot about using video, using images to really help our students master these words. And vocabulary is such a hard concept for a lot of our students. And so when we're able to provide them with these quick resources, it can help them master vocabulary. Okay. All right, now we're going to play a game. Okay. So with this game, it's called the unfair game. And with the unfair game, you can decide how long you want to play. So you can either play one round with your students, you can play multiple rounds with your students, And what I'm going to do here is the directions are you're going to answer a question. Okay, so Frankie, I'm going to need your help for this to find out who's our quickest person to respond. So once I give you a question, you're going to answer it on slide number 5. Okay, so just grab using the comment box. So again, comment, and you can respond by text, audio, or even video. Okay, you guys ready? The question is 2 plus 2. Okay, what's the answer? First person. Uh-oh, Frankie, did you see it?
I saw it. I saw it, Steve.
It was close.
It was very close. It was very close. It was between Dawn and Kim.
Oh, who do you think was? It says a few seconds ago, so it doesn't even tell me by the timestamp. We'll go with Dawn. Okay, we're gonna go with Dawn. Okay, so the answer is 4. Good job, guys. So with this activity, Dawn, what I want you to do is I want you to pick a number. So Dawn, you're gonna pick a number from 1 to 40 and place it into the chat. So first your students answer a question, then they pick a number 1 through 40. Okay, 39, are you sure, Dawn? Okay, I don't know about that. Dawn, do you want to keep it or do you want to give it away to another team? So Dawn gets to decide if she's going to keep it for team number 1 or if she wants to give it away to 2, 3, or 4. Okay, so students answer a question. They then decide if they what number they want, and then they get to decide if they want to keep what's behind that box or give it away. She's giving it away. So Dawn, do you want to give it away to 2, 3, or 4? 4. So she's giving it to team 4. What happens is I click on 39. It's going to take me to -5. Dawn made a great choice. And what happens is I go back home and I put -5 on team 4's box. And then we keep playing. Okay, so let's go ahead and play again just so we can see real quick. And I also grab the markup tool and I cross off 39 from the screen. So that way nobody can mark it or open it back up. Okay, so again, this one is already open. You can either play with a timer. So when the timer is up, students are done with the activity, or you can play until all the boxes have been open. Okay, so the next question, ready, Frankie, is 3 plus 3. I think it was Kim. What do you think, Frankie?
On my side, the person who first put the correct answer down, Stephanie, it looked like Paula. The name Paula came up first. It appeared first.
I thought it was Kim, but we're going to go with Paula. All right, Paula, you get to decide if you want to, what number you want to pick. 15. Okay, Paula, do you want to keep it or give it away? Keep. Okay, so we're going to say Paula's on team number 2. She's keeping it. It's number 15. We open the box. Her team has 20 points. Good job, Paula. So again, we would keep playing until the end of the timer or until the end of the game. It's kind of up to you. And then again, I just grab a little marker and I cross off that box. And what I love about Cami is it doesn't get rid of my marks. It keeps them on there. Okay, any questions so far? Let me know in the chat or in the Q&A. I know we have a question about Jamboard that I'm going to cover soon. But again, we've talked about capture and create. We've talked about using this or that. We've talked about using the sketches and how our students can use vocabulary sketches to really enhance their knowledge and vocab. And then we went over the unfair game. Yeah, so with this game, I don't share it with my students. I just have the Cami document up on the board. And then, because if you give them the document, they're going to know what's behind the board. So you can do negative points, positive points. I've even done swap points where they have to swap points with a team. You can also do like physical challenges, like 10 push-ups, run around the hallway. I mean, maybe not run around the hallway, but jumping jacks, something like that, to kind of encourage your students as well. So what this is, again, I use Google Slides. So it's just the Google slide. And then you can come in, update the points, update the challenges. You might want to change them. Sometimes there's a student that always remembers what's behind certain boxes. So I would suggest maybe if you're going to keep replaying this, you might go in and change and move around some of the slides. But yeah, they're all just hyperlinked. And then you just click on the home to go back home. And that way the students can't see what's behind each of the different boxes. Okay. And again, that template will be shared after the session. And it's right here, the unfair game. And you can just click here. And then there will be a Google slide where you're also able to go in, customize it if you wanted to add those physical challenges. There will also be that video resource for you as well. Okay. Yeah, so you'll want to hyperlink first in Google Slides. So that's a great question, Rachel. So right here with Sketch, you'll just go in, hyperlink it, and then you pick which slide you want to hyperlink it to. Okay, so yeah, hyperlink before you go in and link it into Kami. Okay, it just makes it run a little bit smoother when you do it that way. Okay, awesome. Okay, let's keep exploring some other ideas. Okay, we're going to work together. And what I like to do is I like to use the Kami library. And so this template is from the Kami library. And with this Kami library, I just have my students do a little extra. We're not just drawing, we're going to relate this to content. And so for this activity, what I want my students to do is I want them to finish the picture with their knowledge about potential energy. So I'm in a science class, maybe I just taught about potential energy. Maybe I was in a social studies and we're talking about ancient Egypt. Maybe we're reading a book, right? And so whatever topic you're teaching, I want my students to finish the picture about that topic. So let's go ahead and work together, and you can use any of the Kami tools. And let's finish this picture about potential energy. So I think we're going back to like 6th grade. And so if you're like, what is potential energy? Feel free to Google it. Let me make sure I turn back on copy and paste. But again, we're going to work together to really explore how we could use this, finish the drawing activity for potential energy. So again, I've done this with multiple different subjects. So go ahead, play around, explore with those Kami tools to finish this template. Darren, I love that idea. Yeah, it's a great idea to warm up your class. Have your students come in and they have this quick entry level kind of question to really think about, okay, what is potential energy? And whatever, maybe it's a review, maybe it's a spiral review, maybe they just learned it, maybe they haven't learned it, and you're trying to figure out what do they know about this topic. So you could use it in multiple different ways. Again, we're doing this collaboratively. I might have assigned this individually, which we're going to get to in a little bit. But if you're doing it collaboratively, I kind of like this. I love how we're kind of working together to finish this picture about this topic, because when these cars were drawn, I'm like, oh, I need to finish the track, right? We were able to work together as a class to really think about, okay, what is it? Maybe somebody labels it, somebody else does something else. And so then you're able to kind of show that within this drawing. So yeah, I love that idea. Okay, you're trying to paste a picture. Is the picture from Ad Media, Dawn, or is it from another website? And while we're waiting for Dawn, okay, so another website. So if I was on another website, let's look up a roller coaster. Okay, I'm gonna do this one right here. You'll save it to your desktop first. So right here, it's on my desktop, or you can save it by right-clicking and save that image as. Okay, perfect. Glad you did that, Dawn. And then what I can do is I can go up here to add media. So it's the last one towards the bottom. And I'm gonna hit my computer. And then I'm gonna find that icon and then add it right on. Yeah, no problem, Dawn. And again, if you guys have questions, feel free to ask in the chat. Okay, for this next activity, you already saw the answer. Okay, so the answer is a monkey. But what you could do is you could use vocabulary words. You could use animals if you're just trying to waste some time. And what I like to do is I like to go to shapes right here. And with the shape tool, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to fill the shape. And I'm going to hide the little monkey. Okay. My students don't know what's behind this box. And they have to use these clues to draw that vocabulary word, that concept, that topic. So again, it's a great way to kind of show your students, have some fun where they have clues and they have to figure out what is behind this box. Okay, so you have to kind of have them think about, okay, they have to draw a picture from the clues. It's an animal, it is brown, and it swings on trees. So students have to use their knowledge about the vocabulary word, about the activity, whatever it is, and draw their little box here. You could do one vocabulary word. You could have 6 kind of like in this document where they would just scroll and scroll and scroll until they complete them all. But it's kind of up to you. And again, they'll use that drawing tool. They're going to come in and they're going to go, okay, it's an animal. It's brown, so I need to change my color palette. And it likes to swing on trees. Okay, I am not the best drawer. So we'll see if there's somebody else that wants to draw our cute little monkey, but there's my little monkey. And then at the end, you can go in here, delete the little box, and then you can talk about what that vocabulary was. And so again, students are using kind of thinking, they're thinking about what are these clues? They could make their own clues. So maybe instead of you making the clues, students make the clues, and then they share it with the other student. Yeah, Frankie.
Steph, yeah, we just got a great question as well. So one of our lovely participants asked, are students able to delete those black squares that you drew on the page?
That is a great question. Okay, let's test it out. All right, Bobby, I'm gonna pick on you today. She's like, no. I have to, Bobby, because it's a monkey and it loves bananas. Okay, Bobby's gonna go to page number 7. And Bobby, can you delete the box for me? Someone else is already, Rachel's already trying, and she's like, Bobby, she's telling you the answer. So is Stacy. So you can't delete the box, which is great, right? If I want my students to do these activities, they can't delete the box. Maybe I only wanted them to have one clue at a time. Well, guess what? I could hide these clues and then slowly reveal them as they come up. Okay, so you can't delete the box. I like to use this for chunking as well. So if I had multiple directions, multi-step directions for my students, I can come in and say, okay, do part 1. Then I can delete the box and say, okay, here's part 2, right? So using this masking box, all you have to do is go to shapes, make sure it says fill, which is up here at the top, fill that shape box, and then you can pick whatever color you want, and then you can hide it. And then as you're ready for those directions, just delete the boxes. Or as I'm ready to reveal this, I can delete. Okay. The only way that your students could delete it is if they created that shape on their own. Okay. Great question. I love the banana here. Great job. Let's see, who made that? Is it Bobby? Yep. Okay, so this is a heat warm up. So what this is we were talking about icebreaker activities earlier with that activity where we finish the drawing, right? Where our students come in, they finish that drawing. This is another activity like that. So great for start of the class. You can see here that I used the boxes. And so again, you can't see what's behind each box. This uses depth of knowledge, so that DOK level. So first is DOK level 1. Hopefully we got a math teacher here that can solve this for us, or we can use a calculator. So first my students solve this problem right here. 34 and 76. What is the product? Oh, Dawn has the answer. Dawn, I'm going to add that onto the Kami document. Okay. Once they get that correct, I am going to use class view, which again, we're going to kind of show at the end. Oh, did Dawn get that wrong? I didn't even do the math. That's so funny. Okay, so the answer should be 2000. That is, yeah, so it should be 2000. Okay, there we go. Fixed. So my students solve the problem, right? I can come in, I'm using class view. We're going to go over class view in a little bit, and I can give them a little sticker. Now they're ready for DOK level 2. Okay, it gets hotter. So we've got DOK level 1, which is a simple recall type of question. DOK 2, again, it's getting hotter where my students now have to compare the products. Then once they solve this question and they get maybe a teacher check again, I reveal the next box, which is going to be DOK level 3. And then we go into DOK level 4. So level 3 is where they have to create a word problem using the multiples of this and explain their reasoning, okay? If I reveal this box, now they're doing a real world kind of problem where they have to create this community garden. And when would they use the concept of multi-digit multiplication in it? Okay, so again, this is at the start of a lesson. You could use any subject level. All you need is 4 different questions, and I use it by DOK level. So level 1 is basic recall. Level 2, we're getting into kind of them comparing. Level 3, they're analyzing. And then 4, they're really justifying their reasoning. Okay. So this is, again, it's a great way to make sure you're not just kind of stopping at that DOK level 1, but you're really going forth with those other DOK levels. You can mask those boxes like I did, or you could just share the entire template with your students and see how they go. And what happens at the end of the heat up warm up, you'll go over the questions as a class. And then the students, you can again, either give them feedback immediately using the add media, or you can go over them really quick in a mini lesson. And then your students can kind of say like, yes, I got this one. Yes. Okay, this is where I need to work on. I need to work on that DOK level 3 type of question. So they're able to reflect on that as well. Okay. Okay, so now with this activity, if I would have assigned this to my students in Google Classroom or in the learning management system, they would have been able to move these images to the correct boxes. However, because this is a collaborative document, it's locked. And so what I want you to do is I want you to think through toys through the decades. So work together, use the drawing tool, and kind of show me, what do you think is the correct order for these tools? Okay, so again, you can either draw arrows. Typically, again, I would have my students move the images to the correct location, but on a collaborative document, it is locked. So what I, again, want you to do is just work together. Yes, 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 and see what you can come up with. Okay, we're using just some, what do you know? So I'm having my students use what do they know, seeing what prior knowledge they have with these toys through the decades. They're working together in a group, so there should be talking. Again, we're in a Zoom, so it's kind of silent communicating. We've got multiple arrows with like, yes, I agree, or no, I don't agree. Students are reviewing the toys or reviewing the events or reviewing the events in the story. Again, you can use this with multiple different subjects. If I was teaching math, I might have like fractions and I might break it up. With the first step, my students need to look at the denominators. The second step, they change the denominators. The third step, they find common denominators. The fourth step, they add, calculate. And then the fifth step, maybe they simplify. So whenever you have like different steps is when you could use this activity. Yeah, it could be messy, but again, what I usually would do is I would not assign this like as a group. They work together in a group, but everybody has their own individual copy, Dawn. But today we're doing it together. But I am going to show you soon, very soon, class view and how you could assign all of these activities just to certain students. But that collaborative piece is really great where students can work together to collaborate and talk about and use their prior knowledge of when they think things happened. Okay, so again, they're placing those events in order. They're comparing now their answer with the correct answer. Again, I hid the correct answer. So now I'm going to delete the box. And this is the correct answer. And then what students are doing is they're coming in and they're going to say, yes, we got this right. Or, oh, no, we didn't, right? And so then we're having those conversations together about what they got right, what they got wrong. This is happening at the start of the lesson. So they are going through these different activities. They haven't learned it yet, maybe the events in history or how to solve fractions, but they're really just kind of thinking about how does this happen? After they do that, they review the correct answers and their incorrect answers and reflect. Yeah, and awesome, Dawn. I'm glad you're going to get Cami certified. That's fantastic news. And yeah, this again, if you need help on how to use Cami, like the basic features, schedule a time. I'm more than happy to walk you through some of those features. Because again, we're just kind of going over different strategies you could use within Cami to support you. Yeah, those are not virtual reality goggles. I know it confused me too, that one. Okay, the next one is I think. So again, we're kind of promoting that deeper level within our students. So we're going to use this fun one right here. I think pizza is better than spaghetti. Okay, prove it. Am I right or wrong? So that's the first step, is you have to decide if I'm right or if I'm wrong. And then you have to prove or disprove that answer. So you're going to justify your answer by showing your work. If I was doing this with content, I might put a problem. I might make it correct. I might make it incorrect. 4 times 4 is 16, or maybe I do fractions, or maybe I say like something in a story. The conflict was ... And then my students have to prove if I'm right or if I'm wrong based on that conversation. Or if you're looking for another icebreaker, maybe you do something fun like you think pizza is better than whatever. And you're able to do that. Jessica, I was going to show the Jamboard thing, so I will connect with you after today's session, but it will also be in the recording as well. I know you had that question, just to warn you. So again, my students can use the tools within Cami. I could assign this as a class so we can see each other's responses, or I could assign this individually in my learning management system. Students provide that reasoning, they explain their answers. And then if you're doing this as a collaborative activity, what I love about Kami and using the comment features is you can write a reply. Students can respond back to you or to another student. And so you're able to provide that response to your students. And then the next one is vocabulary, rolling the dice. So students will either roll a physical dice, but you can also add a YouTube video onto a Kami document. And so if I search for roll the dice, I can come in here. Oh, let me just type dice maybe. There's got to be a good one right here, I think. Copy the YouTube video, add it in. Students pause the video, and that's the dice that they might get. And then what happens is your students have to do that activity. So they roll the dice. Maybe they roll a 2. They have to create a podcast episode about that word. So they have to come in, grab the comment tool, record their podcast episode about that word in action. There's their episode. Students might have to write the word or use it in a sentence. So then they could type their sentence using that vocabulary word. Students might have to illustrate by grabbing that drawing tool and illustrating that word. They might have to grab a mind map from the Add Media toolbar and really explain their thinking by putting the word here and how words are connected to that vocabulary word. So lots of different ways that you're able to kind of have your students practice those vocabulary words. They can roll as many times as they need to. And then there's roadmaps. Roadmaps are another great way. And this is when I'm going to kind of show how you can assign these activities using that class view. So we're going to dive into class view. And again, if you are like, okay, I need some more help with Kami, I'm just a basic user, make sure you schedule a time. Make sure you kind of say, hey, this is my learning management system. And we're able to really talk with you one-on-one about what needs you might have. So again, I'm going to go to my Google Classroom. I'm going to go into my class. And what I did is for this activity, I call them roadmaps, is I have 5 activities right here. Choose your own adventure is the extension part. If my students finish all 5 of these activities, they're going to go into that choose your own adventure. Every activity is here in these slides below. I can also hyperlink. So remember how we were talking about hyperlinking? I just click on that text, click on this little link, insert the slide that I want to hyperlink. Now it's ready to go to Kami because I want my students to interact with this using the Kami tools. So I'm going to go to my Google Classroom. I'm going to go over to classwork, create a Kami assignment. Make sure you have the Kami extension first. Also, if you do not have the premium version of Kami, send me or Frankie an email and we will make sure you get connected with the correct person to set up your account and you can try out the premium version of Kami. So right here, I'm going to call this Math Roadmap. I'm going to go to my Google Drive. Okay, right here, I'm going to go to Recent. There's that document that I just created. I'm going to insert it just like I normally would to an assignment. Remember those feature controls that we talked about, how we had certain features on or off? Those are right there. I'm going to leave everything on for this assignment. I'm going to go ahead and hit assign. I could assign it to all my students or pick certain students. I could do multiple classes if I wanted to as well. And what's going to happen is my students are going to go to their Google Classroom. So here's the student side of it. They're going to click on that assignment and they're going to open it with Kami. Okay, there's that first slide. What my students do is they come in, add media, and they take a picture. And what they do with their picture is they use this as a tracker. This lets me know which activity my students are on. This roadmap is self-paced, so my students are moving at their own pace while we're going through the different activities. So right here, I'm on the do now. My students are going to check in. We talked about how goal setting is really important for our students. And so what they're able to do is they can come in, use the Kami tools. They can even use the signature tool to grab the time stamp or even the date stamp, so they don't even have to know what date it is. It will just put it in there for them. And then they let me know, what are they on? So I could say, okay, are you on, activity 1, 2, 4, 3, where are you? So my students can place which number they're on. So maybe, for example, this student is on number 2, right? Today's goal, they can write the goal that they have for today, right? I want to finish watching the video and taking notes. This student, maybe I tell them, hey, today, our goal, and I'm going to go back to my teacher's screen. And here I am with my math roadmap. I'm going to view those instructions, go over to student work, and I'm going to click on class view. This is my favorite feature in Kami. I love this feature because I can see all of my students' screens at the same time. This works in Canvas, Schoology, Microsoft Teams, and Google Classroom. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. Okay, there's that student that's working on this. I can come in and say, okay, our goal today should be to get to number 3. So I can see where everybody's at and make that decision really quickly by that formative assessment. I'm going to go back to my Google Classroom and I'm going to click Update Work. Class View is personalized, individualized. Update Work, I'm going to come in here, add a sticker. This is the goal today, is to get to maybe number 3. Publish those changes, publish. Everybody in this class is going to get that sticker on their screen. So see that little heart? Remember how I just published those changes? Everybody gets that sticker. That works great for digital notebooks as well. I don't want every student to have that notebook out just yet. I can use Update Work and send the pages as I need them. Let's say though, I've got student Roseanne who's maybe on an IEP. Her goal though is number 2. I just moved Roseanne's number 2 and it's only going to move for her. This student right here, August, I want them to be ahead of pace. I want them to work ahead, so their goal is number 4. This student right here, I want them to be on number 5 today. Okay, so I'm able to really customize what I want my students to do by using Update Work or by using Class View to individually differentiate and provide feedback to my students.
Steph, I just want to say that Bobby said class view for the win. And then Rachel also highlighted a great use how she uses Kami every day in her classroom as well.
How does Rachel use it?
So she says, I use Kami every day as like a whiteboard in my virtual classroom. I make the slides in Google Slides and then use the add-on to open it in Kami so I can show my work or have students show work during math class.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that. And I saw a question in the chat. I kind of got away from the chat, so thank you, Frankie. Canvas, yes, it is available. So if you need help with that, again, just reach out to us. We're more than willing to show you. And sometimes your technology admin has to do some things to allow the LTI integration to happen and work for you. So if that's the case, just let us know and we're more than happy to communicate or work with those folks if you're like, I don't know what you just said. Okay, so again, I can see everybody's screen, how they're working, what they're doing, and guess what? I can provide feedback or scaffolds to my students. Remember that capture and create activity? My students are going to watch a video, but this student needs that scaffold of a graphic organizer to help them create. This student doesn't need that scaffold. Here, I can come in where it says choose your own adventure. And I could take a screenshot of an extension activity. And what I can do is I can come in, let's go ahead and act like this screenshot right here. Give this activity to this student, another screenshot to another student, and now I'm really able to differentiate this choose your own adventure for my students. Okay, so this is going to look great when you're having your evaluation with your principal, because you'll be able to have your students working on different activities to really personalize to what they need to understand the content. Yeah, let me show that again. So right here, I'm in my Google Classroom. Again, if you need a different learning management system, schedule time with us. It will take 15 minutes. Create a Kami assignment. Once I'm there, it has to be a Kami assignment. Okay, it has to be a Kami assignment. View instructions, class view. This is class view. Individualized, personalized feedback. Update work. Everybody gets that update to their screen. So if I was absent and I needed to create a video, I can do that. Or you can notice here, I forgot my video. How many of you have done that? And then you're like, I have to delete everything. No longer do you have to delete anything. I can come here and I can search math, whatever I'm teaching, grab this YouTube video, insert this video onto the screen, insert that video, publish those changes, publish. Every student's going to get that video. So I kind of think of it UDL, everybody gets those supports, or individualized, personalized feedback based on what each student needs. Okay. I can also come in and remember how Roseanne was on an IEP and we talked about filling this shape. I can fill this shape from student Roseanne. She can't work on those tasks until she gets those teacher checks. Okay. I could do that for all of my students if I think it would be helpful, but maybe I just want to do it for that one student. You can do that too. Okay. Were there any other questions, Frankie?
Just Steve, Dawn said that they do not currently use Google Classroom. So I'm just going to respond with an article to show your sharing link that you showed earlier. That was so magical.
Okay.
So I'm just going to also place a little link there for Dawn.
Awesome. Okay. And then to wrap it all up, the final strategy is you could share this with your students. What's something you've learned? So I want to know from this session, from our hour together, what is something that you learned and what's something you're going to try next week? Okay. So go ahead, take a few minutes and something you've learned. You can use any of the Kami tools and something you're going to try next week. Or something you're going to do. Maybe it's, hey, I'm going to book a time with Stephanie. I'm going to email, reach out to Frankie. I'm going to try class view. What are you going to do? What is your goal going to be for next week or tomorrow? Darren, are you talking about the roadmap? Yes. Okay. So with the roadmap, I suggest you use that heart like I did, and you really kind of keep your students like, hey, our goal today is to get to here. Our goal is to get to here. Our goal is to get to here. That helps pacing. This would take about a week, this roadmap. If you wanted to, you could make it longer. You could make it depending on your class time too. So for this class, it was a 45-minute class that the teacher had her students. You might have 90 minutes. So if that's the case, I've also seen where teachers will start the class off whole group mini lesson, pause the class, they work individually for the next 30 minutes or 45 minutes on their roadmap independently. So it's kind of up to you. Also happy to co-create these with you. If you're like, hey, I want to try this out, let me know. I love creating these. You just tell me what standard and we can find resources together, or we can use your curriculum. Love, love those sessions. So don't feel like you can't have those sessions. Okay. And real quick, I know there was a question about Jamboard. Jamboard is leaving. However, Cami makes a great, great addition. So this was shared by somebody in the chat that was having issues. You can hit open with Cami. Okay, so if you download all your Jam files, you can hit open with Cami. If you're in Jamboard, let me see if I have one. If I go over to Jamboard, and let me see if I have any files, you can hit the open with Cami button. And this person was saying, hey, it's really zoomed in. You just have to go up here to this 100% and zoom out. And then there you go. Okay. And then if you do have a jam, here's a jam file I have with the 6 thinking hats. I just can click this Cami button. And when I click that Cami button, it will convert to a Cami document. Okay. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining tonight. If you have questions, reach out to us. If you need help, book a time with us. Make sure you fill out the feedback survey. Okay. If you want the resources, Frankie helped me design this really cool resource document. So if you're wanting that resource document, I had to figure out which tab it's on. Oh man, I lost it. But I promise it's really cool. I think it's right here. Fill out that feedback survey and I will send this to you via email. If you don't get it or you're having issues, check your spam, but also reach out to me. My email is right here on the agenda. But again, it has all of the 14 strategies that we talked about today. If you need help with any of these strategies, reach out. If you need help with class view, reach out. If you have questions, reach out. We're here to support you. Our jobs as Teacher Success Champions are here to support you as best as we can and improve that instruction within your classroom, help your students achieve those goals as well. So on that feedback survey, put your name, your email. The session that you attended today is all the way at the bottom. I believe it was called Webinar, Amp Up Your Teaching. Yep, Amp Up with Cami. Down at the bottom. It's all the way at the bottom. I think you can also type webinar. Yeah, type webinar. Yep. And then leave some feedback. So if you wouldn't mind, leave me some feedback. My name is Stephanie on the second box. And then let me know how you are going to use this in your classroom, okay? I'm glad you had fun, Darren. Again, if you need help, please, 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 please reach out. Here's that feedback survey. I'm going to put it in the chat for you. And I will email out all of those resources. We're here to support you. And I had so much fun learning with you, and I cannot wait to share even more resources with you. So follow along on social media. I share all the time different templates and resources that you can use in your classroom. Thanks for joining me, guys.